Good morning. Welcome to Monday, first day of February. Hope you all are having a safe and blessed day. I wanted to share a video of me and Megan's story. Most people don't know it, but we have been blessed from day one. There have been, like every couple, our share of trials and tribulations and things we've went through. So this is just my testament to God blessing us and doing great things in our life and always being faithful to His Word. And when Megan and I got married back in 2010, we went on our honeymoon. She kept having leg pain, and we didn't think nothing of it. We drove to Tennessee for our honeymoon, so we thought maybe her legs were cramping up from riding so long, and so we stopped for the night and got up the next day, and her leg was really swollen, and we didn't think nothing about it. We thought probably from, like I said, riding. And so we got to our hotel in Pigeon Forge, where we spent a few days of our honeymoon, and went to Gatlinburg, walking around, didn't think anything of it. Drove down to my sister's house in Cleveland and visited them and stayed there for a couple days, and then came back home. She went to work that following Monday and couldn't hardly work because she was having such leg pain. And so the head boss was like, go see, one of the nurses and see what they say. Well, they put her off of work. They said, you need to go see your main doctor and get checked out. So that she did, and they did the tests and found out she had a blood clot in her leg. Weird for, she was, 21, 22 years old at the time. So, it's very crazy. And, so they said, we're going to have to start you on the shots and stuff like that. And, if you guys get pregnant, it's probably going to be a rough pregnancy. It's going to be a lot of time, bedridden. You're not going to be able to get up and move about like you want, and all this stuff. And so, we didn't think nothing about it. And we hadn't really been preventing most of the time we were married. We really looked forward to having kids and felt truly that was one of our callings from God, was, having kids and raising kids and, loving kids. And so we prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for years, praying for kids. And Megan and I had gotten to the point where, what? If God wants us to have kids, we'll either have kids of our own or we'll adopt our own, which we're perfectly fine with. There are a lot of kids in poverty and tough places in the world that don't have families or parents, and we would love to take kids in. We love that. We love kids. And so we kept praying about it and praying about it. It's in God's hands. It's in God's hands. And we took pregnancy tests all the time, and so back in, let's see, it was 2013, and sorry, the sun's coming out up here in Chicago. We were doing things normal, like we normally do, and went to a truck show in Louisville and hung out and met with our family and had a blast. And we came back home, and it was, our anniversary. It was, 3-year anniversary, and we went out and had a good time, and did what most couples do on their anniversary. And so we didn't think nothing of it. So I think in like May, Megan started to have she's like, maybe I'm pregnant. I don't know. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, if it is, it is. If it's not, it's not. It's God's will, whatever. And so we just, kind of shook it off. Well, things started getting different again and started having different feelings. And I'm like, are you okay? Maybe you should go see a doctor. And she went and saw the doctor, and I'm like, well, do you think you could be pregnant? And we're like, we don't know. And so, and let me go back a little bit. Before this, God had spoken in our lives and gave us many prophetic words that, we would be parents. He has a plan. It's all in His time, and we just took it. We took it and said, God, like I said, if it's your plan, it's your plan. That's what we want. And if your will is what needs to be done, then that's what has to be done. If things have to be in line, then things have to be in line the way you want it, Lord. And so we, like I said, she's at the doctor, and they said, could you be pregnant? Well, they did a pregnancy test, and before they even got back to the room with the results, within 20 seconds of her taking the test, it showed pregnant. And we both cried, and it was an answer to our prayers, and that's just amazing to us. And we were just so happy, and we just kept thanking God and thanking God. We prayed throughout the pregnancy. We kept praying for our baby Tatiana, and her doctor kept saying, well, you probably be on bed rest. It'll probably be a high risk pregnancy. She never had morning sickness. She never had any of these symptoms that most girls get. She never had bed rest. She never had high risk pregnancy stuff. And they put her on shots of Lovenox, because of the blood clot 3 years prior. And so we went, and we actually had a car accident at the beginning of the pregnancy, like a month after we found out she was pregnant, and on our way to a truck show. And they were worried, and they did tests and everything. Baby was fine. And then we ended up having a wedding for my brother up in Wisconsin Dells at the end of 2013, the last day, the 31st of 2013. And she was there 9 months pregnant, dancing the night away. And I'm like, babe, you got to chill out. I don't want to have a baby in Wisconsin right now. Your doctor's, 400 miles away. Let's chill out. Well, we got home, and then we went in, and she got induced, and, Tatiana wasn't coming. She wasn't coming. And so we, they came in and talked to us. They said, well, we're going to have to do it C-section. And we cried because we were worried. We didn't want anything to happen to this baby that God blessed us with. And our whole family came in and prayed. And we just believed God, He brought us through. And He brought Tatiana into this world. Beautiful 9-pound baby girl who is now 7 years old, almost 5 foot tall and 115 pounds, and has a sweet soul. But God kept His promise with us. He told us that He was going to bless us. And we just had to have faith that He was going to bless us. And it's hard to have faith, especially something you want so bad to happen right now. But you have to give it to God and say, in your time, Lord, and pray about it. Be diligent about it. Pray about it. Prepare for it. Mentally, physically, financially, whatever. Prepare for it. And just don't forget that God is in control. We're not in control. Because if we controlled everything, we would mess everything up. Literally. I mean, I think I'm in control of a lot of things, and I end up messing something up or doing something wrong that I didn't see in another circumstance there, and it's like, should have left it in God's hands. And so the next part of our story, We wanted to move into a house because we, wanted more room for Tatiana because at the time we were living in a 2-bedroom apartment. And we wanted somewhere with a backyard so she could run and play and have fun. And so then God blessed us with a house. Like, I was driving to work one day and this house was for rent down the street. Beautiful house. I'm like, oh. I called the landlord about it and I'm like, hey, what's the rent on this place? What do you need? He's like, oh, told me what the rent was, what he needed. And I'm like, done. I said, we'll cut you a check at the end of the week. And so we moved into that house thanks to some awesome friends of ours and family. And literally, Tatiana was 9 months old. And in October, the next Sunday after we moved in, Megan's like, wow, I don't feel right. I don't know what's going on. I don't feel, I feel sick to my stomach and all this. And I'm like, well, we got extra pregnancy tests. Go take a pregnancy test. And we hadn't even thought about second baby yet. We were like, we're enjoying Tatiana being small and having a great time with her and watching her grow. And then all of a sudden, she comes in, babe, I took 2 tests and they're both pregnant. I said, what? We're pregnant again? 9 months after we just had Tati? And it was in the Lord's time. He provided. I ended up getting a promotion at work and was making a very good wage that God blessed me with. That I was a supplemental at Caterpillar, waiting on full time. My time had gotten frozen, and I worked diligently and worked hard, and God blessed me with an awesome supervisor that saw my potential and said, hey, we're going to move you up. We see how hard you work, and we want you to learn these other jobs so you can really help us do the work. And I said, but I'm only a supplemental, you can't move me like that. And he said, oh no, we are. And so they did. And, Judah was growing in Megan's belly, and I was working, and I had some struggles at work with a lot of the full-time guys. They didn't like that they moved a supplemental guy into that position to take over a position that was a pay grade above what it was supposed to be. And they pitched a fit about it and tried to file grievances against the supervisor and me. And I'm like, Lord, it's in your hands. You gave me this job. Only you can take it from me. And they didn't put the pay raise in the books yet. And I kept saying, well, I'm doing pay grade 4 work, and why am I only getting pay grade 3 pay? And I went to my supervisor, got to be good friends with the manager over the area, the supervisor's manager, and they said, oh, we got this. And they went to HR, and that Friday night, my boss cut me a check from Caterpillar for a couple $1,000s of hours that I didn't get paid for at the right rate. They cut me a check and made it right because God saw fit to give me what I was blessed with, what he wanted me to have. But I was praying about it all the time. I'm like, God, it's in your hands. People were worried. I'm like, it's in God's hands. Don't worry about it. And that's just another reason I always have faith in God. No matter what is going on in my life, I could be driving on icy roads all day long and I'm not worried. God is in control. I may be driving this rig, but God has the ultimate decision on how and where I go and how safely I get there because it's in his hands. I pray every day before I leave the house. I walk around my truck and pray for every part of this truck before I leave. And it's a blessing that I'm safe every day because God keeps me safe. He puts hedge protection around me. So anyway, so Judah's born June of 2015. We're just so excited. Love him to death. He's a fireball full of energy. He is what he is. and he's a blast. But he also has a sweet heart. He's a good kid. Um, he's just handsome as can be. I wish his daddy was that handsome, but I'm not. Nope, not even close. He gets his good looks from his mama. And so, here we are, 2016. 2015. The end of August in 2015, I got laid off from Caterpillar because of the economy was bad and bulldozers weren't selling. So I went and stayed home with the kids. Megan was back to work from her maternity leave, and went driving, hauling grain for a farmer on the side, and he was taking care of me. And then found another job and started it, and didn't work out. Didn't work out. So I started working with my aunt and uncle doing floors and concrete floors, and also working at FedEx at the airport in the early mornings, unloading planes, driving the tugs and stuff, hauling the little trailers around and loading semis and whatnot. And so August of 2016 comes around. I'm working like 16, 17 hours a day between both jobs, living on Monster Energy to keep going and providing for my family. And I was overdoing it. I'd felt some chest pain, and I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was anxiety from being up so many hours and being working so much, and thought it was anxiety. Well, one day I was in there unloading a plane, just throwing little 5-pound boxes around, getting them off the plane. And I started having really bad chest pain, worse than ever. I told my boss I need to go to the emergency room. He's like, "You want me to call an ambulance?" Oh, no, no, no. I'm a tough guy. I can get there myself. It's all good. I get out to my truck, I about pass out. Get my truck started, get going to the hospital, get to a stoplight away from the hospital, about pass out again. I called Megan, called my mom, told them what was going on. They were all upset, and so they got there and they gave me nitros upon nitros. I probably had 6 nitros, and they could not get the chest pain to go away. Finally, it subsided enough, and my cardiologist came in. He's like, "We're going to do a stress test on you tomorrow." I said, "Okay." "How old are you?" At the time, I was 31. Not thinking about heart problems at all. Thought I was bulletproof. You can't stop this. And they did stress test, about died through that. And they said, "We're going to have to go in and put stents in." Went in, put 2 stents in. Got done with that. Went back to work. About a month later, went back to work. My aunt and uncle, and we were lifting our flooring machine out of a basement to carry it up these flight of stairs. And these stairs were steep, and this machine weighs 500 pounds. Me and my uncle had special lifting straps to carry it up the stairs because it's so dang heavy. And as I go to lift, I felt something in my hip give out. Didn't know what it was. Hurt. I'd never felt hurt like that in my life, in my bones. And found out that I tore my labrum in my hip and had to go off on medical because I had to walk with a cane just to keep my balance. And the pain was so intense, they're like, "No, you're done working for a while." So I took a leave of absence for medical, and FedEx had a rule that if you're off more than 90 days, they have to let you go, which I can understand that. What's the point in keeping a guy if he can't work? So I did that, and they found out that the insurance company wasn't going to cover my surgery. And they fought me and fought me. Went up here to Rush in Chicago to, I don't know, probably 6 times to get different x-rays to show them what needed to be done. Well, that wasn't good enough. So I took care of the kids. Megan worked, and my parents helped out as much as they could. And found out later on through some loophole, they said, "Oh, well, the doctor's reading the X-rays. We can't do the surgery if the doctor reads the X-rays. We have to actually have an X-ray reader read it." Well, at Rush, they're all trained to read X-rays. That's what they do. So they read them and sent them away to my insurance company. Finally, at the end of 2017, they said, January 2018, you can have surgery. I said, okay. So January 20 something, I can't remember, 2018, I had hip surgery in Chicago. They kept me an extra day because I was a cardiac patient. And healed up pretty quickly from that. Went back to work at Caterpillar in Pontiac. Worked and worked and worked and worked, and I was just exhausted. Worked overtime as much as I could. Worked 4 and 6 hours on Sunday just to add a little extra to the paycheck. After church, of course, because I'm not working over church. And so, about August of that year, I told Megan, I said, I'm not happy. You know, I said, this is not what I want to do. This is not where I want to be. I said, I'm starting to hate this job. I said, I'm gone more from you guys than I need to be, especially working in a factory. And she's like, well, call your old boss. I said, okay. Called my old boss back. He said, yeah, we're actually looking for help. If you want to help during harvest at the farm and drive, and we can get you your CDL. I said, awesome. Let's do it. I said, I've been around trucks all my life and driven trucks, on your farm before, but, not full time. He's like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to get you that. And I said, okay. So we did it. We started working for him. And the Lord just blessed us. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to get by. And the Lord just kept blessing us and taking care of us and blessing us. And got my CDL after fighting with the weather to get it, because it was January and February and it was terrible weather and cold and just not fun here in Illinois, of course. And so got my CDL, went to drive, and was looking to really make some money. And so I've been driving for 2 years now. Yeah, 2 years full time. I love it, and have put a bunch of miles on. Been all over the place and love it. But so as most of you know, in 2019, I had a heart attack while driving down the road. I pulled over and lost my phone out the window, went to pick it up, and started having a heart attack. And that whole morning I felt terrible. My phone broke, had no way to communicate with anybody, sent messages through my Qualcomm, nobody received them, 911 emergency, nothing. And got on my CB radio and asked if anybody could help. Well, finally a driver turned around on a ramp, came back and got behind me. He had called 911. They were on their way, and it was that right there is a blessing from God, because I may not have been here if that didn't happen. And went in, they said, oh, we got to do, another 2 stints. Went in, they did 2 more stints, and went back to recovery, started eating healthy, determined to get right, and eating healthy, and started to exercise a lot. And one day I would get up in the morning and I would do like 70 to 100 jumping jacks every morning. So I get my heart rate up and just try to get in shape. So I did that, and one morning I just didn't feel right afterwards. I'm like, yeah, this don't feel right. So they had me scheduled to come in to do my treadmill for getting my medical card back for the DOT. And I came in and I did it, and my chest was hurting. And they're like, just stop. They said, we're showing, weird signs on this treadmill. And I'm like, okay. They said, your symptoms aren't good on here. And so they sent me home. I said, "Oh, just come back." See, I said, "I don't feel right." And they're like, "Well, just call your doctor's office to see if they can get you in." Well, I called my doctor's office. They said, "Go back to the ER right now. We'll meet you there." And so I did, and he said, "We got to go in. One of your balloons collapsed. That we ballooned one and did a stent in the other." And I said, "Oh, that's what I felt then." So we went back in, fixed it, went back to work at the beginning of December, and worked for about a month. And I couldn't hardly walk to the back of my trailer without being exhausted, my chest hurting. Like, what is going on? And we went out to dinner one night with my brother and his wife and my sister and her husband, and we were having our adult night we do every Christmas. And we got to the restaurant, and I couldn't hardly walk to the restaurant. I said, "Babe, I don't feel good." And I started getting sweaty and nauseous, and she said, "I'm going to take you to the hospital. We're just down the road. Let's go." She got in the car. My chest was hurting so bad. I've never had chest pain like that. And I thought it was bad before. And this was the worst I'd ever felt. And she ended up having to call 911 and pull over. And the ambulance came and got me. She followed them. And a week later, about 2 weeks later, they decided they were going to do a quadruple bypass or a triple bypass on me. And they did. And it was very painful. I've never had to endure something like that. And it was just terrible. So it took me about 4 months to heal. I got back exercising, walking, running, not lifting because they don't want you to do that right off the bat because they might mess up the healing of your sternum because they have to wire it together. And went back to work, and here I am. I've been back to work for just about a year now. And so at the week of Christmas, my dad had quadruple bypass, which is crazy because we thought he was healthy as a horse. He'd walk 5-7 miles a day every single day of the week. Well, he was having chest pains we didn't know about. And he went in. Well, after he got out, I'd gotten home from Indiana. It was the last week of the year before New Year's, and Megan wasn't feeling right. Heart rate was up, blood pressure was up. She's feeling nauseous. I'm like, "Babe, what is going on?" I said, "Your heart feel?" She said, "Feels like my heart's racing." I'm like, "Okay." So we took her to the ER one day, and I'm like, "You need to get checked out. I'm worried about this." And they took her back. They said, "Sir, you got to wait in your car because of COVID and all that." I'm like, "I understand." And in the car, I'm just praying. I'm like, "Lord, I don't know. I can't do this without Megan. Please make this not be something crazy, with her heart. Let her just be healthy, God." And just praying. And I'm so worried that I'm in tears. And they called me and they said, "Daniel, you can come back in." I said, "Okay." So I get into the room and I'm holding her hand. I'm like, "Babe, you all right?" She's like, "Yeah, I just feel weird." And I'm like, "Well, we're at the right place, we're getting checked out." And so the nurses come in behind me and I move to the foot of the bed. So I'm out of their way and they grab her hand and they're like, "Megan, we have to tell you something." And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, what are they going to tell her? I don't know. I'm so scared. So they say, "Well, you're pregnant." And right then and there we start crying. Just like, "What? Are you serious?" And, this is the last thing we were thinking of. We sold all Judah's baby stuff, sold all Tati's baby stuff. We're like, we weren't even thinking kids. Judah's going to be 6 years old. We weren't even thinking about that. And we started thanking God, like, "Lord, you had this baby come. We know you'll make a way." And so far, we went through the first pregnancy doctor appointment and saw the ultrasound and saw our little peanut growing, and we're like, Lord, it's in your hands. You give us this baby. You'll give us a way to take care of this baby. And we trust you fully, completely, God. And that's how we are. We completely put our trust in God. And we've had so many things have been blessed to us in this life since we found out we were having another baby, and it's just been amazing. And all of our stories that we have in our life are like this. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how we're going to pay this bill. We don't know how we're going to take care of this. We don't know how we're going to take care of that. But God has met all of our needs. And He says it. He will meet all of our needs according to His riches and glory. And He has met all of our needs. He is our Jehovah Jireh. He is our provider. And we couldn't be more blessed to have our relationship with God in our life. And that's why we raise our kids to pray. Pray to God. Pray about this. Pray about that. Pray about Papa being sick. Pray about Grandma being sick. Pray about all these things, and God will take care of them. And I know there's a lot of people that are negative about it and have lost their faith about it. And it's like, you have to see things from our point of view, where we have been just blessed. God has just taken care of us and met our needs where there seemed to be no way. And I just want to encourage you, have faith in God. Don't put your faith in man. Donald Trump is not your God. Joe Biden is not your God. Kamala Harris, none of these senators or judges or mayors or any of that are your God. Money is not your God. Money will not meet all your needs. Money will leave you wanting and waiting for more. God will bless you with all the things that you need to fulfill in your life. You just have to give your faith and give your hope and put it in Him, and He'll take care of you. But I just wanted you guys to know what our story was, because this is me. This is who I am. I've been blessed with a trucking job that I could not even fathom I would have. Driving a beautiful ride that I could not fathom I would have. An awesome boss that takes great care of me, that helps me out whenever he can. And just great people. My parents are still here. I'm blessed with that every day. That's a blessing to me. And I have the best family in the world, honestly. And I just want you to be encouraged and have faith that no matter if you're going through a hard time right now or going through a struggle, God will see you through it if you just believe in Him and give your faith to Him. But first, you need to have a relationship with Him. You need to give your heart to God and say, God, I want you to be the Lord of my heart and the Savior of my life. And, just believe that and have faith in Him. And God will see you through. No matter how bad it is. No matter how hard it is. No matter how hard it seems. God is always there for you. And even if you've walked away from God and feel like you don't deserve it, God doesn't see it that way. You deserve it all because God loves you. No matter what, no matter if you've said things or done things that don't agree with God's word, He loves you. No matter what you've done, just give yourself over to God and let Him do all the things that He wants to do in your life. So I just want to say thanks for taking time to watch this video if you watch it. And I hope that the things that I've told you about our life can give you faith and give you hope in your life. And thank you very much, and God bless you. And like I said, I hope this can help you. God bless you all. Have a great day.